First of all, good evening, everyone. You're looking dashing tonight, the GIBS way. Thank you, Kabelo, for that warm welcome. I really, really appreciate it. I'd like to greet you all at my +1. So, yeah. Picture this. We're in the middle of a forest in the Amazon with many trees around us. Then all of a sudden, the sky grows dark, the wind whips and wails, the rain pours. A storm so wild it bends everything in its path. And yet, when the storm passes, some trees are still standing. We see them tall, unmoved, and we wonder, how? This question has been on my mind for a long time because at times leadership today may feel exactly like that storm. Fast, uncertain, relentless. And yet some leaders stand. How? Why? The answer isn't obvious. It isn't about their height or their size or even how many branches they have. It's something else, something deeper. Something hidden. It's in their roots. Now, what are roots? So the term roots comes from the Latin word radix, which means starting point. So you can think of this as the place that something starts from. So whether that's the root of a tree or the root of a problem, it all refers to the point of inception. So when you're arguing with your spouse, in a loving way, you can say, "You are my radix." And you can stop that argument real quick. Think about your own roots for a moment. Your starting point, your heritage, culture, upbringing, and early experiences that quietly shape who you are. How you came about to be who you are today. So a little bit about me. I grew up on a coastal town called Margate in KZN. I am the second born of a family of 4. I've got an older brother and a younger brother and a younger sister. Our father passed away when we were very young, so my mother did her best to raise us in the best way she knew how. She worked as a teacher, and even though we didn't grow up with a silver spoon in our mouths, our mother really did her best to raise us in a cultured way. So now most of us know the idea of Ubuntu, okay? And that's exactly how I was raised. Kwakuthiwa umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Directly translated as a person is a person by people, or meaning a person is a product of other people. Now at our primary school, ever so often, we'd have what is called Civies Day. And this would take place maybe every 2 or 3 months, sometimes at the end of the term. This was a time when we could wear any casual clothes, okay? So when we would have Civies Day, I had this beautiful red dress that had white flowers on it, and that was my pride and joy. Though I'd constantly win awards at school for being the neatest student in uniform, I didn't have many nice casual clothes because our mother's priority was ensuring that she would use the little she had to make sure that we had good uniform and our basic needs were met. So I remember in grade 2, every Civies Day, I used to wear this red dress of mine. Until one day, a child in my class asked me a question. She asked, "Sthabile, why do you always wear this red dress of yours every Civies Day?" My knee-jerk response to her was, "Because I like it." But when I went home, I asked my mom, another child in my class asked me, "Why do you always wear this red dress every Civies Day?" And she said to me, "Don't worry, my child. Mommy will buy you other nice clothes when she has the money to." Then she held up her hand for me like this. When she held up her hand, she then said, "You see these fingers?" I said, "Yes." "Okay, are any of them the same length?" And I said, "No." Then she asked me, "Would you chop any of them off?" And I said, "No." She's asked me why. Because they're my fingers and I don't want to lose any of them. Exactly, she said. The same applies to people. None of us are equal or made in the same way, but God created all of us in our own unique way. You don't look like your friends. You don't sound like your friends. So you are unique and special in your way, the same way that they are too. So don't compare yourself to them. And I held on to that from then till this day. So I grew up to be a confident young girl who was not afraid of standing out and being different. And that mentality of the very things that helped anchor me in who I grew up to be today. I mean, it's not something the world knew, but it's one of the things that quietly shaped me into the person I became, thus forming part of my roots. Now, you may have had a similar or very different background, but the point is understanding how that shaped you. Whether the experiences you had were good or bad, you are able to transmute them into your current story to help you become the best leader you want to be. You can reframe the ugly experiences into testimonies of resilience and hurdles you overcame to become the person you are today. If you're struggling with moving beyond certain things, we're blessed with awesome psychologists who can help you unpack and come out victorious on the other side. Now, let's go back to our picture. Next, we have our trunk, okay? The trunk now consists of your character. We can liken the trunk to your character. That's the visible part that rises from what no one else sees, which is your roots. The deeper your roots, the stronger the trunk. Now, when you look at a tree's trunk, you don't see just the bark. You see years of storms survived, seasons endured, and time invested. Every ring inside that trunk is a story of resilience, and leadership is the same. Your character is not built overnight. It is tested over time through seasons of difficulty and triumph. And let's be honest, sometimes character building doesn't feel glamorous at all. Nobody claps when you're making tough decisions at midnight or when you're quietly choosing integrity over shortcuts. It's not trending on LinkedIn when you stand by your values even when it costs you. But those are the exact moments that carve the rings in your trunk. They are the silent winds that strengthen you for the storm. Okay. Now, I don't want you to think I'm just here to give you a lesson on trees, okay? Even though it's really nice. But the reason I keep coming back to this is because the picture is so powerful in presenting a mirror for what leadership looks like. But still, let's pause and think beyond the forest for a moment. Leadership is full of people who look tall from a distance, but when the storm hits, you realize their trunk is hollow. And you know what happens to hollow trees in a storm. They make a lot of noise when they fall. That's why the unseen work matters. Because when your character is solid, you don't only look strong, you are strong. Now, the trunk alone is not enough. So what we have above the trunk are our branches. Now, branches represent your relationships, your connections, the people you influence. A tree does not grow its branches only for itself. Its branches reach outward, just like leadership reaches outward. True leadership isn't about standing tall for yourself. It's about providing shade, fruit, and shelter for others. But here's something important. Branches only grow strong if they are connected to a healthy trunk, which is only possible if it's fed by deep roots. As one ancient text puts it, apart from the source, nothing can thrive. If your roots are not rooted on the right source, whether it's values, faith, or purpose, your branches will be weak. But when your roots are anchored, your branches become stable and your influence becomes everlasting. Now, while we're here, let's look at the leaves. Leaves capture light. They take in energy and convert it into life for the tree. In leadership, your leaves are your mindset, the way you think, the way you process what's happening around you. Leaves turn storms and sunlight alike into energy. The question is, what are you feeding on? There's a powerful reminder from Philippians 4 verse 8 that says, whatsoever is true, whatsoever is noble, whatsoever is right, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is admirable, think on these things. Because the way you think determines the energy you bring into your leadership. And finally, the fruit. There we go, the fruit. A tree is ultimately known by its fruit. It doesn't matter how tall it is or how wide its branches stretch. What matters is what it produces. In leadership, the fruit is your legacy. It's the impact you leave behind, the growth you inspire in others, the seeds you plant for the next generation. So let's bring it back. You are like that tree in the Amazon. The storm will come. The winds will blow. The rains will pour. Leadership will test you. But when your roots are deep, when your trunk is built by character, when your branches reach in service to others, when your leaves capture the right light, and when your fruit is abundant, you will stand. And not only will you stand, but you will provide shade, shelter, and sustenance for those entrusted to your leadership. As leaders, our calling is not to be the tallest tree, but to be the tree whose roots go deep enough that no storm can move us, and whose fruit feeds generations. So the real question I want to leave with you is this: what kind of tree will you be? Because the storm is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it comes, may you be found standing, deeply rooted, strong in character, wide in influence, and clear in mindset, as well as fruitful in legacy. May you be the kind of leader who not only survives the storm, but changes the entire forest. Thank you.